Last week I told you about a summit in Dubai where speakers were ranked by follow count, Mr. Beast at the top, Will Smith somewhere below, and yours truly, well, notably absent. A travesty, I know. Follow, like, and subscribe. I also mentioned LinkedIn's new algorithm, the one that filters your content before your network even sees it.
Debate is over. You will write a formal apology. I will what? A formal apology.
I said it gets weird, and so welcome, my people. Welcome to weird. Look, the creator economy is real. No, it's not a fad. That summit in Dubai, it's proof of concept and all that. Real money, real influence, real economic engine, and so on and so forth. I'm not dismissing any of that. What concerns me, though, is when outlying creator superstars like Mr. Beast and IShowSpeed and Kabilame become the template for success, when young people build their ambitions on becoming the next mega creator with millions of followers, we're handing them a very specific definition of what matters. Scale, spectacle, numbers. Boom, bam. Did I say boom? That's a narrow frame.
There are an estimated 200 to 300 million content creators worldwide. That's the equivalent to the whole of Pakistan or Nigeria. Data shows that only about 10 to 12% of all of the millions of content creators the world over even make $40,000 to $50,000 in a year.
LinkedIn used to replicate how real-world networks actually function. You built relationships. Those relationships opened doors. Reputation compounded over time. Look, my own story, a failed podcast in Johannesburg led to African Tech Roundup, which led to BBC gigs, international speaking and consulting, a role in tech venture capital, a critical career pivot for my wife's Tabiso, finessed through a providential network introduction that happened in a post-podcast conversation that initially had absolutely nothing to do with her or her work. I mean, look, that worked because people saw consistent work and remembered me when opportunities emerged. The new LinkedIn algo changes this.
You're alienating everybody. I ought to walk out on you myself. Go ahead.
Now, to be fair, and in the event it didn't come across in the last video, it doesn't completely ignore your network. Connections and engagement history still matter, but the AI-driven relevance layer now dominates. Your content might never reach people you've built relationships with, not because it's not relevant to them, but because an AI decided it doesn't match patterns it's seen perform well before. I mean, whose patterns exactly? That's LinkedIn, but the same logic showed up in Dubai. When a summit orders speakers by follower count, it tells you something about our collective obsession with fame and celebrity. Communique founder and CEO David Adeleke, who was actually there, unlike me, well, David shared his notes on Substack afterwards, and he asked the perfect question, in my opinion. What's it all for exactly? Just because? You know what, David? Great question. That's what the follower count economy produces at its worst. Capital deployment as spectacle. And if the price of entry is follower count you can buy or game, I mean, what are we teaching the next generation about how to build a career, a reputation, a life?
All right, chat, I'm gonna...
It's not just individuals gaming the system. They are literal phone farms, rows of devices simulating human behavior to inflate views and engagement. Platforms know this, which might explain why they're shifting to AI-driven relevance. They're trying to solve for trust. They're just not necessarily solving it in ways that work for people like us. And let's be honest, platforms aren't neutral referees here. They sell ads against engagement. Inflated numbers mean inflated revenue. So the incentive to look too closely at whether that engagement is real, well, let's just say it's complicated. Platforms sell attention, real or manufactured. It all spends the same. Both solve for scale. One says big number equals authority. The other says pattern match equals relevance. Neither weighs the value you deliver to the audience you serve. Never mind the value you cultivate in the real world.
The disappointment here is you, me.
The kind of work I do, creator journalism and consulting based on slow build relationships, expertise that compounds, community that remembers you when, opportunities emerge. None of that fits neatly into a 50 number fingerprint. You know what? That's okay. There are other ways to measure a life well lived, impact that doesn't trend, influence that doesn't scale, trust that compounds quietly over the years. So to the young people watching, including the individual who called me Unk in the YouTube comments.
Emotional, damn it!
I'm not necessarily saying don't chase it, but Maybe also ask, what else do I want to be known for? What relationships am I building that will still matter when the platform changes its rules? And question everything, including me, because platforms always change the rules. And if you're watching this on LinkedIn right now,
Sorry to this man.
that's literally mostly down to what they've decided you should see. So unless I, of course, start spending $100 a week to target exactly who clicks on my stuff, like the ads they're sending me are encouraging me to do. So, again, subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss a thing, and maybe help your boy cop an invite to next year's 1 billion followers summit. I'm Andile Masuku. This is Tech Tides. What's your take?